What up, World Weary team? Back at it again. Welcome to the episode. Today we're talking about a time when cheat codes weren't just hidden buttons, they were life hacks for gamers. And the only way to find them, you had to grab a magazine or know that one kid at school who swore he had the Konami Code memorized. This is the golden age of cheat codes and gaming magazines. I was that kid. I bought so many of those magazines. I had to memorize so many codes. I was that kid. I was a Nintendo kid. I loved video games. I loved finding cheats and codes and shit. So I was usually the one that kids came to ask about codes, to ask about the new Nintendo Power and shit like that. Let's rewind. Cheat codes weren't created for us gamers at first. They were developer tools. They help programmers test levels faster, skip sections, or give themselves infinite lives while debugging. But then, someone had the genius idea. What if we left them all in? These little shortcuts turned into legends. Suddenly, games weren't just about beating the challenge. They were about discovering hidden magic inside the cartridge. So I worked for 2K for a while, about 5 years, and I learned a lot about how this stuff works. You can't create a game without having shortcuts. You can't test a game without having shortcuts. And for them to have in mind to keep the secrets in the game was genius at the time. That was like something no one's ever thought of, I guess. The first code I remember, or the first cheat I remember, was in the first Mario, where in level 1, 2, where you jump on top of the thing and go to the warp zones to take you to level 2, 3, and 4 instead of having to go through the regular warp zone that takes you to the next to 1, 3 or whatever. That shit was amazing. I didn't even find it. So I was at school and my mom found it because she loved video games at the time. So my mom found that secret warp zone by mistake just playing around when I was at school. I come home and she was like, I gotta show you this. And she showed me that and I was blown away. And from that point forward, I think I was like 10 or 11, maybe younger than that. That point forward, I was looking for every fucking cheat that I can find in every game. Now, if we're talking about cheat codes, you know we gotta mention the Godfather, the Konami Code. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start. Or select start if you want play with 2 players. A code so famous, it became pop culture. This wasn't just a code, it was a rite of passage. If you didn't know the Konami Code, could you even call yourself a gamer in the 90s? I remember getting this code from a kid at school, I think it was. After I had beat it in the game, I beat Contra with the 3 lives. It took me forever, but I finally beat it. And then when I got the code, that made the game 10 times easier. I fucking flew through the game. Because you had so many extra lives to lose, and you gain lives while you playing through the game. So it was definitely a game changer for people who couldn't beat it at first. It made the game difficulty a lot easier because 3 lives and one hit and you're dead. That's pretty hard. So that was definitely a game changer and one of the codes that lives on forever. Everybody knows about that code. I can't believe I didn't find it myself because I used to read all those magazines, Game Power and all that, or Game Pro, and I used to watch Video Power on TV. And I don't remember ever seeing it unless I bypassed it. And then a friend of mine at school told me about it, which is fucking crazy. Now here's one that every NES kid remembers. Forget Fighting Glass Joe. If you had the right code, you could skip right to the final boss and Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That password, 007-373-5963. You plug it in and boom, you're face to face with Iron Mike himself. This code was both a blessing and a curse. Yeah, you skipped the grind, but you also got humbled real quick. Tyson was no joke. One punch and Little Mac was on the fucking mat. So I love Mike Tyson Punch Out. I still play it on my Switch. It is a fantastic game. For a time in the 80s when I was a little kid playing that shit, it was amazing. It took me forever to get there on my own, to get to Mike Tyson, going through every fucking fighter. When I got that code, I fucking played that shit. I play Tyson all the time. I fought him every fucking day for fucking hours, over and over again. I finally beat the game, but it wasn't satisfying because after when you beat the game, your record is like 0-3. I mean 1-3 or whatever. I didn't like that, so I ended up beating the game the regular way also. But fast forward 20 years, like a couple years ago, I was at a friend's party or some shit, and he had the old. This was the first time I played it in years. He had the old Nintendo or whatever, and he had Punch Out. And after not playing that game for over 20 years before I got it on the Nintendo Switch, I remember the code by heart. I just punched the code in. They was like, "Damn, you remember that shit?" There was a bunch of people there. They was like, "Holy shit, you remember that?" I was like, "Yeah, that shit just came in my head, like I never stopped playing it, whatever." So codes like that, you never forget shit like that. You never forget those numbers. You never forget codes like that. Because I literally played Mike Tyson. I fought Mike Tyson a million times. Well, maybe not a million. It was a lot though. But you never forget codes like that, and that shit just popped in my head like I was just playing it yesterday, like I was a little kid trying to get to Mike Tyson. A couple years later, they took Mike Tyson out of the game and made it Mr. Dream. He was the same character, just a different skin, so it wasn't no big difference, and I beat that too. So, big fan of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Big fan of Punch Out in general. Before the internet, there was only one way to get cheat codes: gaming magazines, Nintendo Power, Game Pro, EGM, Tips and Tricks. They were like the sacred scrolls. You run to the store, flip to the middle pages, and copy down cheat codes like you were decoding secret government files. And don't forget those game hotlines. Imagine paying by the minute to have some guy tell you how to beat Bowser.
Get the secret clues and tips on Punch-Out, Contra, Gauntlet, Kung Fu, Donkey Kong, Double Dragon, and more. Call now, 1-900-909-3500. Just $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Ask Mom or Dad first. The Power Phone is an independent information source not affiliated with Nintendo. Nintendo and Nintendo products are registered trademarks of Nintendo.
Crazy fucking times. And if you didn't have the magazines, you were at the mercy of that one kid on the playground who claimed his uncle worked at Nintendo. That shit is fucking funny. So I never called the hotlines because my mom would kill me if she found out on her bill that I called a 1-800 number to find codes. But I did game the system a little bit as a kid. So I used to get Nintendo Power and Game Pro. And when you go through the magazine, there's a section there's a card in the magazine that shows you that will allow you to buy magazines through the mail. But also on this little ticket paper thing, there was a section that said pay later. So you would fill out your name, address, and all this other shit, put it in the mail, and in a couple of weeks you get your magazine. And then a couple of weeks after that you get the next one and the next one. After 3 or 4 magazines, you get a bill in the mail saying that you owe however much the fucking magazines cost. So what I would do is I would put my name in, address, and whatever, get the 3 or 4 magazines. When the bill came, I would get the fucking card again, fill out a different name with my address, and they continuously send me the magazines, which was fucking insane. I guess they were going by the honor system, thinking that you would pay it. I never paid for one magazine. I used to get all those fucking magazines for free pretty much. So I was scamming the system as a fucking little kid. And what's crazy is they never fucking, like, nothing ever happened. Like, I never got any fucking mail or anything saying that I owed. Well, I had the mail that said I owed money, but there's nothing they could do if you didn't pay it. So I was getting magazines for years without ever having to pay it. That shit was fucking insane. I couldn't believe I was getting away with it. And to this day, I never paid for one video game magazine when I was a little kid. There's always that one kid that claims that they had somebody that worked for the video game company. You never believe that kid. He was a fucking idiot. And he always claimed that he had all the new games, which is bullshit. But those were crazy times back in the day. I was fucking stealing magazines and not getting in trouble for it. And I would have all the new magazines. I was like the kid with the magazines that knew all the Nintendo games that came out. It was fucking wild. Then came the big hardware cheats. Game Genie, GameShark. These devices broke games wide open. Want infinite ammo in GoldenEye? Done. Unlock hidden characters in Mortal Kombat? Easy. With these, you weren't just using built-in codes. You were rewriting the rules. You could play games in ways developers never intended. Absolute chaos. and they loved it. I never had a Game Genie or a GameShark. I always wanted one, but my mom was going to give me that shit. So I did have a couple of friends that did have them, and it really did change the game. You were doing shit that should not have been done in games or whatever. It was pretty cool to have infinite life, but usually there's the game crashes at certain points when you use those things. So it wasn't all fun and games with it. But like I said, I never had one, so I can't really comment firsthand on it. But secondhand, I've seen it used, and it was actually pretty cool. But I wouldn't have wasted like $40 on it at a time to buy one. But like all golden ages, this one ended. All games went online, cheat codes disappeared. Suddenly giving yourself infinite ammo wasn't just for fun. It broke multiplayer balance. Developers placed cheat codes with DLC, microtransactions, and unlockables. The playground secrets became official paid content. Don't get me wrong, today's games are unbelievable, but there was something magical about punching in the code and watching your game world transform. So I don't do all that microtransactions, and I don't even really buy DLC either. I don't do none of that bullshit. If I want to find a cheat or some shit, I go to fucking Google and Google in what I'm looking for. And usually I can find what I'm looking for. Like when I was playing Saints Row, they had a whole fucking section of codes where you can fucking unlock every weapon and shit like that. Or when I was playing The Sims, there's codes where you can fucking get all the money and build all the houses or whatever. So the codes are still out there. You just gotta look for them. And I'm never paying for a fucking code. That's just not what I do. But it does suck that there's not a real place like the magazines anymore. So that was the golden age of cheat codes and gaming magazines, a time when discovery, secrets, and sharing codes with your friends was just as fun as playing the game itself. Hit me in the comments, what was your favorite cheat code? Mine gotta be that Mortal Kombat blood code. That shit was amazing. I had the Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis. Didn't like the one for Super Nintendo. My friend tried to convince me that the Super Nintendo was better, which is bullshit. I don't even know why he would even think that. But the Genesis outsold the Super Nintendo version until Mortal Kombat 2 came out. Of course, the Super Nintendo had the better graphics, so overall they won the battle. But Mortal Kombat 1 for Sega Genesis was amazing with the blood code. That's gonna do it for my video. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. You could have been on anybody else's channel and you decided to watch mine. There's only 24 hours in a day. And you gave me a couple minutes, so I truly appreciate you guys for giving me a time. Time is precious, so thank you. That's going to do it. Have a good one, and I will get at you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Later.